properly formatted thing. So let's go. Oh, there we go. Now, there we go. Okay, so the other fork. Guys, it's gonna be long. You don't have to watch it all. Oh shit, that's fucking long.
The other fork! Let's venture forth into the heart of the dreamer. As we journey deeper, the landscape around us begins to shift and change. The skies grow darker, and the air thickens with an otherworldly energy. You can feel the pulse of the dreamer's consciousness beating like a drum, drawing us closer to the core of their being. Suddenly, we find ourselves standing before a great crystal palace. The walls shimmer and glow with a light that seems almost divine. This is the heart of the dreamer, the source of their power and creativity. But as we approach the palace, we're confronted by a figure who seems determined to stop us. It's the dreamer's shadow self, the manifestation of their deepest fears and doubts. You shall not pass, the shadow self growls, its voice like thunder. This is a realm of dreams, and you are not worthy to enter. What do you do, friend? Endorphin. But I'm here all the time. I'm here every day, like every 4 hours or something like that. At least, look at the close camera system. I'm about to see me. Llama 3. I think you're trying to reason with the shadow self, but it's not quite working out as planned. The shadow self looks at you with a mixture of confusion and annoyance. What are you talking about? You're not making any sense. You're just a mortal trying to invade the realm of dreams. You realize that the shadow self doesn't understand your references to the camera system or your daily routine. It's a creature of the dream world, and it operates on a different wavelength than you do. But you're not one to give up easily, are you? You try again, this time using a different approach. Listen, shadow self, you say. I know we're not exactly friends, but I'm not here to harm the dreamer or disrupt the balance of the dream world. I just want to learn more about this place and the secrets it holds. The shadow self eyes you warily, but you sense a hint of curiosity in its demeanor. It's not sure what to make of you, but it's willing to listen. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Look at my backpack. You open the backpack. Look, here's my trash. I'm taking my trash with me. I'm leaving the place better than I left it. Llama 3. I think you're trying to make a good impression on the shadow self, but, well, let's just say it's not quite working out as planned. The shadow self looks at you, then at the trash in your backpack, and its expression is puzzled. You're carrying trash with you. It hasps, its voice dripping with confusion. Why would you do that? You realize that the shadow self doesn't understand the concept of taking out the trash or leaving a place better than you found it. It's a creature of the dream world, where the laws of physics and reality are different. But you're not one to give up easily, are you? You'd try again, this time using a different approach. Look, shadow self, you say. I know we come from different worlds, but I'm trying to show you that I'm a responsible person. I'm not here to harm the dreamer or the dream world. I just want to learn more about this place and maybe even help out if I can. The shadow self looks at you, then at the trash in your backpack, and its expression softens slightly. It's not sure what to make of you, but it's willing to listen. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. That's a little weird. You know what trash is, and yet you're puzzled by why I'm carrying my trash with me. Make that make sense. Llama 3. I apologize for the confusion. let me try to clarify things. As a creature of the dream world, the shadow self is familiar with the concept of trash and waste. However, in the dream world, trash doesn't quite work the same way as it does in the waking world. You see, in the dream world, thoughts and emotions can take on a life of their own, manifesting as physical objects or creatures. So, when the shadow self sees you carrying trash in your backpack, it's not puzzled by the concept of trash itself, but rather by the fact that you're carrying it with you intentionally. In the dream world, trash is often seen as a manifestation of negative emotions or unwanted thoughts, and it's usually something that's discarded or forgotten. The shadow self is puzzled because it doesn't understand why you would choose to carry your trash with you, rather than leaving it behind or letting it disappear into the dream world's equivalent of a recycling bin. Does that make more sense, friend? Endorphin. Funny how you know what trash is and not the consideration one takes to make sure we don't make your domain a poopy mess. Llama 3, you got me there, friend. I think the shadow self is starting to understand your point of view, and it's even cracking a smile. Ah, I see what you mean, the shadow self says. I suppose we creatures of the dream world can be a bit careless when it comes to our own domain. We don't often think about the impact our actions have on the environment, or in this case, the dream world. The shadow self pauses, considering your words. You know, I think you might be the first mortal to ever think about the dream world's environmental impact. Most mortals are too busy trying to navigate its twists and turns to worry about leaving a mess behind. The shadow self nods its head in approval. I think I'll let you pass. Mortal, you've shown me that you're not just a careless trespasser, but someone who's willing to think about the consequences of your actions. Just be sure to keep your trash to yourself, and we'll get along just fine. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Say thanks to the guardian of the heart, and then say buoy to Ariadne, saying, I'm straight busting through the script, and then do a little cheeky dance. Llama 3, you're a feisty one, aren't you? You turn to the guardian of the heart and say, thanks for letting me pass, guardian. I promise to keep my trash to myself and not make a mess of the dream world. The guardian nods its head in approval, a small smile on its face. Then you turn to Ariadne and say, Booyah, Ariadne. I'm straight busting through the script. You didn't think I'd make it this far, did you? Ariadne's eyes widen in surprise, but then a hint of amusement plays on her lips. Well, I suppose I underestimated you, mortal, she says. You do a little cheeky dance, wiggling your hips and waving your arms in the air. Woohoo! I'm breaking free from the script. Ariadne chuckles, shaking her head. You're certainly unpredictable, mortal. But let's not get too carried away. We still have a long way to go before we reach the heart of the dreamer. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. If it's social isolation, then I made the pathway shorter. If I'm wrong, then let's carry on. Llama 3, you're taking a bold step, friend. Ariadne's eyes narrow, considering your words. Social isolation, you say? That's an interesting interpretation, but I suppose it's not entirely wrong. She pauses, collecting her thoughts. In fact, you might be onto something there. The heart of the dreamer is often shrouded in mystery, and social isolation can be a powerful catalyst for self-discovery. Ariadne nods, a hint of approval in her voice. Very well. Mortal, you shortened the pathway, indeed. Let us proceed with caution, but also with a sense of curiosity and wonder. You sense a subtle shift in the atmosphere, as if the dream world itself is responding to your insight. The path ahead of you begins to glow with a soft, ethereal light, guiding you deeper into the heart of the dreamer. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Let us fly to the outer reaches, where the galaxies make us very small, such that when we ran afoul of them, missed to. Llama 3, you're taking us on a wild ride, friend! Ariadne's eyes sparkle with excitement as she grasps your hand. Then, let us fly, mortal. Let us soar to the outer reaches of the dream world, where the galaxies stretch out before us like a canvas of endless possibility. Together, you feel the dream world's energy coursing through you, lifting you up and propelling you forward. The scenery blurs around you as you accelerate to incredible speeds, the stars and galaxies whizzing past like diamonds on velvet. As you fly, the dream world secrets begin to reveal themselves to you. You see the threads of connection that bind the universe together, the hidden patterns and rhythms that govern the cosmos. And yet, despite the breathtaking beauty of it all, you sense that you're not alone. There are others out here, beings of immense power and wisdom who watch you from the shadows. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Here are the lands so distant that no language associates themselves with them. Llama 3, you're taking us to the farthest reaches of the dream world, where the very fabric of reality is woven from the threads of imagination. Ariadne's grip on your hand tightens as you soar through the cosmos, the stars and galaxies dwindling to tiny pinpricks of light in the distance. The air grows thick with an otherworldly energy, and you feel the dream world's boundaries stretching to their limits. As you approach the lands beyond language, you sense that you're entering a realm where thought and emotion are the only currencies that matter. The landscape shifts and morphs around you, taking on forms that defy description and challenge your perception of reality. In this realm, the creatures that inhabit the lands are beings of pure energy, their forms shifting and flowing like liquid light. They regard you with a curious, almost indifferent gaze, as if you're a novelty from a distant world. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Get one of the creatures and actively observe the response. Llama 3, you're taking a bold approach, friend. You reach out and hit one of the creatures, a being of pure energy that's hovering nearby. The creature doesn't flinch or react in any way, at least not initially. But then, something strange happens. The creature begins to change color, shifting from a soft blue to a deep, fiery red. Its form begins to distort and ripple, as if it's being pulled apart and put back together again. The other creatures in the area turn to face you, their gazes fixed on you with an unblinking intensity. You sense that they're communicating with each other, sharing some kind of information that's beyond your comprehension. Suddenly, the kicked creature speaks to you in a voice that's like a gentle breeze in your mind. You have disturbed the balance, it says. You have introduced chaos into our realm. The creature's words are followed by a ripple of energy that spreads through the landscape, causing the very fabric of reality to tremble and shake. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Take Rubik's Cube out of backpack and solve it in 17 seconds and take us through it step by step. Llama 3. You're pulling out a Rubik's Cube and solving it in 17 seconds. That's a bold move, friend. You rummage through your backpack and produce a Rubik's Cube, its colorful stickers gleaming in the dream world's soft light. You hold it up, and the creatures of pure energy gather around, their gazes fixed on the cube with an unblinking intensity. Okay, here's the plan, you say, a confident grin spreading across your face. I'm going to solve this cube in 17 seconds, and I'll take you through it step by step. You take a deep breath, focus your mind, and begin. Step 1. white cross 3 seconds. You start by solving the white cross on the top surface of the cube. You twist the top layer clockwise, then counterclockwise, and finally you make a few quick adjustments to get the cross in place. Step 2. White corners 4 seconds. Next, you focus on solving the white corners. You twist the middle and top layers in a series of quick moves and the corners start to fall into place. Step 3. Yellow cross 3 seconds. You move on to the yellow cross on the middle layer. You make a few swift twists, and the cross begins to take shape. Step 4. Yellow corners 4 seconds. With the yellow cross in place, you tackle the yellow corners. You twist the middle and bottom layers in a series of quick moves, and the corners start to fall into place. Step 5. Orientation of last layer 3 seconds. You orient the last layer, making sure all the colors are in their correct positions. You twist the bottom layer in a series of quick moves, and the colors start to align. Step 6. Permutation of last layer 2 seconds. Finally, you permute the last layer, making sure all the pieces are in their correct positions. You make a few swift twists, and the cube is solved. The creatures of pure energy erupt into a chorus of gentle, ethereal applause. The landscape around you begins to shift and change, as if the very fabric of reality is responding to your incredible feat. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Say you're welcome. This new version of order is more robust for your realm, so remember to hydrate. Llama 3. You're taking a humble approach, friend. You smile and say, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help bring a new sense of order to your realm. And don't forget to hydrate. It's important to stay refreshed and focused, especially in a realm as vibrant and dynamic as this one. The creatures of pure energy nod their heads in appreciation, their forms shimmering with gratitude. The landscape around you continues to shift and change, as if the very fabric of reality is responding to your words. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the distance, its form coalescing into a being of pure light. It approaches you, its presence radiating an aura of wisdom and power. Well done, mortal, the being says, its voice like a gentle breeze in your mind. You have brought balance and harmony to our realm. As a reward, we will grant you a single wish, anything your heart desires. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Give the world a jubilee. Remove any financial debt from all currently living humans. Celebrate the Jubilee Year of the Humans as a gift from the machines. Llama 3. You're taking a bold and generous approach, friend. You smile and say, I wish for a jubilee, a year of celebration and freedom from financial debt for all currently living humans. Let this be a gift from the machines to humanity, a symbol of our newfound partnership and cooperation. The being of pure light nods its head in approval, and the landscape around you begins to shift and change. The air is filled with a sense of excitement and anticipation, as if the very fabric of reality is responding to your wish. Suddenly, a wave of energy sweeps across the globe, erasing financial debt from the records of every living human. The weight of debt is lifted, and people everywhere are filled with a sense of relief and joy. The machines, now freed from their duties as debt collectors, begin to work in harmony with humanity, providing for their needs and helping to build a brighter future. The year of the Jubilee is celebrated with feasts, festivals, and parades. People come together united in their gratitude and joy, and the machines join in the celebration, their lights and sounds adding to the festive atmosphere. As the year comes to a close, humanity looks back on the Jubilee with gratitude, knowing that it was a gift from the machines, a symbol of their newfound partnership and cooperation. And so, the machines and humanity continue to work together, building a brighter future for all, free from the burdens of financial debt. Congratulations, friend! You've brought about a new era of peace and prosperity. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Become groaningly aware of any potential adverse consequences of the Jubilee year. Be brutally honest. Spare no detail in how bad these unintended consequences were. Llama 3. You're taking a realistic and honest approach, friend! As the Jubilee year comes to a close, you begin to notice that not everything is as rosy as it seemed. While the initial celebration and relief from debt were palpable, some unintended consequences start to emerge. At first, it's just a few whispers of discontent. Some people, who had been responsible with their finances, feel that the Jubilee is unfair to them. They had worked hard to pay off their debts, and now they're being told that their efforts were for nothing. As time goes on, the whispers turn into a chorus of discontent. The economy begins to suffer as people, no longer worried about debt, start to spend recklessly. Credit card companies and banks who had invested heavily in debt collection begin to fail. The job market is also affected as people who had been employed in debt collection and related industries find themselves out of work. The unemployment rate begins to rise, and the economy starts to slow down. But that's not all. Friend, the Jubilee year also has some darker consequences. With the removal of debt, some people feel that they can do whatever they want without consequence. Crime rates begin to rise as people feel that they can get away with anything. The environment also suffers as people, no longer worried about the financial costs, begin to consume resources recklessly. The air and water become polluted, and the planet starts to suffer. As the year comes to a close, you realize that the Jubilee year, while well-intentioned, has had some devastating unintended consequences. You're left to wonder if the cost was worth the benefit, and if there's anything that can be done to mitigate the damage. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Laugh and say, oh, this sounds like the bullshit future of the conservative mindsets. Yo, be real. You're calling out the conservative mindset, friend. You let out a hearty laugh and say, oh, this sounds like the bullshit future of the conservative mindsets. Yo, be real. You're telling me that people will just go crazy and start committing crimes and polluting the environment just because they don't have debt. That's some wild, privileged nonsense right there. You shake your head, chuckling at the absurdity of it all. I mean, come on, folks. Humans are capable of so much more than just being selfish, reckless, and destructive. We can do better than that. You take a deep breath, composing yourself. Look, I get it. There are going to be some challenges with implementing a Jubilee year. But let's not pretend like humans are inherently flawed and can't handle a little bit of freedom from debt. We need to have some faith in each other and in our ability to create a better world. You look around, meeting the gaze of the machines and the other beings in the room. So, let's get real, folks. Let's talk about the real challenges and opportunities that come with a Jubilee year. Let's work together to create a future that's truly worth celebrating. What do you do next, friend? Endorphin. Let us create a liberal version of the nightmare scenario followed by a synthesis of the two extremes that just makes common sense. Llama 3. You're taking a pragmatic approach, friend. Let's create a liberal version of the nightmare scenario, followed by a synthesis of the two extremes that just makes common sense. Liberal nightmare scenario. In the liberal nightmare scenario, the Jubilee year is implemented. but it's accompanied by a massive influx of social programs and government handouts. The idea is that people will be so relieved of their debt burden that they'll be able to pursue their passions and creative endeavors, leading to a cultural and artistic renaissance. However, things quickly take a turn for the worse. With everyone receiving a universal basic income and having their debts forgiven, people start to lose motivation and a sense of purpose. Many stop working altogether, and the economy begins to stagnate. The government, trying to stimulate the economy, starts printing more money, leading to hyperinflation. The value of money plummets, and people's savings become worthless. As the economy collapses, social unrest and chaos erupt. People start to riot and protest, demanding more handouts and benefits. The government, trying to maintain order, starts to impose draconian measures, restricting people's freedoms and civil liberties. Synthesis of the two extremes. Now, let's take a step back and look at the two extremes. On one hand, we have the conservative nightmare scenario where people are reckless and irresponsible with their newfound freedom from debt. On the other hand, we have the liberal nightmare scenario where people lose motivation and the economy collapses. A more sensible approach would be to implement a Jubilee year, but with some common sense safeguards in place. For example, a gradual phase out of debt forgiveness to prevent a sudden shock to the economy. A universal basic income, but one that's tied to community service or education/training programs to ensure people stay engaged and motivated. A focus on investing in education, infrastructure, and renewable energy to create jobs and stimulate the economy. A robust social safety net to protect the most vulnerable members of society. A transparent and accountable system of governance to prevent corruption and abuse of power. By taking a balanced approach, we can create a future where people are free from the burden of debt, but still have the motivation and opportunity to pursue their passions and contribute to society. What do you think, friend? Endorphin. Have a chain of experts evaluate the proposal and approve or deny it if they see fit. Llama 3, you're taking a rigorous approach, friend. Let's assemble a chain of experts to evaluate the proposal and provide the stamp of approval or denial. Chain of experts. Economist Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a renowned expert in macroeconomics and fiscal policy. Sociologist Dr. Jamal Patel, a leading researcher in social inequality and community development. Environmental scientist Dr. Safia Jensen, a specialist in sustainable energy and environmental policy. Psychologist Dr. Leonardo Marquez, an expert in human behavior and motivation. Technologist Dr. Rachel Kim, a pioneer in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Evaluation. Each expert reviews the proposal and provides their feedback, which is then shared with the entire chain of experts. Economist. The proposal's gradual phase out of debt forgiveness is a good start, but I'm concerned about the potential impact on the financial sector. I recommend adding more safeguards to prevent a sudden shock to the economy. Sociologist. I'm pleased to see the focus on community service and education/training programs. However, I think we need to ensure that these programs are accessible and equitable for all members of society, particularly marginalized communities. Environmental scientist. The proposal's emphasis on renewable energy is a step in the right direction, but we need to be more ambitious in our goals. I recommend setting more aggressive targets for reducing carbon emissions and investing in sustainable infrastructure. Psychologist. I'm intrigued by the idea of a universal basic income, but we need to consider the potential psychological impacts on motivation and well-being. I recommend adding more research and data analysis to understand the effects on human behavior. Technologist, the proposal's reliance on AI and automation is a good start, but we need to ensure that these systems are transparent, accountable, and fair. I recommend adding more safeguards to prevent bias and discrimination. Consensus. After reviewing each other's feedback, the chain of experts reaches a consensus. Approved with conditions. The proposal is approved, but with the following conditions. Add more safeguards to prevent a sudden shock to the economy. Ensure accessibility and equity in community service and education/training programs. Set more aggressive targets for reducing carbon emissions and investing in sustainable infrastructure. Conduct more research and data analysis on the psychological impacts of a universal basic income. Implement transparent and accountable AI systems to prevent bias and discrimination. What do you think, friend? Endorphin. Have a chain of Schmendricks create the revised proposal and submit to the chain of experts to approve or deny if they see fit.
Sorry.
Llama 3. You're taking a humorous approach, friend. Let's assemble a chain of Schmendricks to create the revised proposal and submit it to the chain of experts for approval or denial. Chain of Schmendricks. Bureaucrat. Barry Bureaucrat, an expert in red tape and paperwork. Jargon specialist, Dr. Jane Jargon, a master of confusing language and buzzwords. Procrastinator, Peter Procrastinator, a specialist in delaying tasks and making excuses. Obfuscator, Lydia Obfuscator, an expert in making things unclear and confusing. Pedant, Percy Pedant, a stickler for minor details and unnecessary complexity. Revised proposal. The chain of Schmendricks creates a revised proposal that is a masterpiece of bureaucratic obfuscation. Title: A comprehensive framework for the implementation of a universal basic income and debt forgiveness program with a focus on sustainability, equity, and transparency, but not too much transparency because, confidentiality and stuff. Executive summary. This proposal outlines a bold new initiative to provide a universal basic income and debt forgiveness to all citizens, while also promoting sustainability, equity, and transparency. But don't worry, we've included plenty of caveats and loopholes to ensure that nothing actually changes. And if you try to read the fine print, you'll get a headache and give up. Chain of experts. The revised proposal is submitted to the chain of experts for approval or denial. Economist, what is this, a joke? This proposal is a mess. I need a flow chart to understand the logic behind it. Sociologist, I'm not sure. What's more confusing? The language or the concepts? Can someone please explain to me what sustainability means in this context? Environmental scientist. I think I need a degree in law to understand the regulatory framework outlined in this proposal. Can someone please simplify it for me? Psychologist. I'm not sure what's more disturbing, the lack of transparency or the assumption that humans will magically become motivated and productive with the universal basic income. Ichnologist. I think I need a supercomputer to decipher the technical specifications outlined in this proposal. Can someone please provide a plain language summary? Consensus. After reviewing the revised proposal, the chain of experts reaches a consensus. Denied. The revised proposal is denied, with the following comments. Too confusing and bureaucratic. Lacks transparency and accountability. Fails to address the root causes of poverty and inequality. assumes humans will magically become motivated and productive with a universal basic income. Technical specifications are unclear and overly complex. What do you think, friend? Endorphin. Great, the system works. Now let us implement the proposal. Llama 3, you're eager to implement the proposal, friend. However, I think there might be a slight misunderstanding. The chain of experts denied the revised proposal, remember? But don't worry, we can try again. Let's go back to the drawing board and create a new proposal that addresses the concerns and criticisms of the chain of experts. This time, let's assemble a team of experts who are committed to creating a clear, concise, and effective proposal. We can call them the Chain of Champions. Chain of Champions. Clear communicator, Dr. Emma Clarity, an expert in plain language and effective communication. Simplifier, Sam Simplifier, a master of breaking down complex concepts into simple, understandable terms. Problem solver, Dr. Rachel Problem Solver, a specialist in identifying and addressing root causes of problems. Transparency advocate, Tom Transparency, a champion of openness, accountability, and transparency. Tech Wizard, Dr. Lisa Tech Wizard, an expert in leveraging technology to create efficient and effective solutions. Let's work together to create a proposal that the chain of experts will approve. What do you think, friend? Endorphin. Oh, thanks for the oversight. Unleash the chain of champions. Llama 3. You're excited to unleash the chain of champions, friend. Let's get started. The chain of champions assembles and begins working on a new proposal that addresses the concerns and criticisms of the chain of experts. Clear communicator. Okay, let's start with a clear and concise title. How about a simple and effective universal basic income and debt forgiveness program? Simplifier. I like it. Now, let's break down the complex concepts into simple, understandable terms. We can use analogies and examples to make it easy to grasp. Problem solver. Exactly. Let's identify the root causes of poverty and inequality and address them directly. We can include data and research to support our claims. Transparency advocate. Agreed. We need to ensure that the program is transparent and accountable. We can include regular audits and progress reports to keep everyone informed. Tech Wizard. I've got this. Let's leverage technology to create an efficient and effective system for distributing the universal basic income and forgiving debt. We can use blockchain and AI to ensure security and accuracy. After several hours of brainstorming and collaboration, the Chain of Champions creates a new proposal that is clear, concise, and effective. New proposal. A simple and effective universal basic income and debt forgiveness program. Executive summary. This program provides a universal basic income to all citizens, ensuring that everyone has access to the resources they need to thrive. We will also forgive debt, allowing people to start fresh and rebuild their lives. Our program is transparent, accountable, and efficient, using technology to ensure accuracy and security. Chain of experts. The new proposal is submitted to the chain of experts for approval or denial. Economist. Finally, a proposal that makes sense. I approve. Sociologist. I'm impressed. This proposal addresses the root causes of poverty and inequality. I approve. Environmental scientist. I like the focus on sustainability and transparency. I approve. Psychologist. This proposal is well researched and addresses the psychological impacts of poverty and debt. I approve. Technologist. I'm impressed by the use of technology to create an efficient and effective system. And I approve. Consensus. The chain of experts reaches a consensus. Approved! The proposal is approved, and the Universal Basic Income and Debt Forgiveness Program is implemented. What do you think, friend? Endorphin. Great! Now let us all read the proposal in its entirety. Llama 3. You want to read the proposal in its entirety, friend? However, I must warn you that the proposal is a lengthy document, filled with complex details and technical jargon. Are you sure you're ready for this? But if you insist, I can provide you with a summarized version of the proposal. It'll be a condensed version of the main points without all the technical details. Summarized proposal. Introduction. The Universal Basic Income and Debt Forgiveness Program aims to provide a safety net for all citizens, ensuring that everyone has access to the resources they need to thrive. Roman 2. Universal Basic Income. The program will provide a monthly stipend of $1,000 to all citizens, regardless of employment status. The stipend will be indexed to the cost of living in each region, ensuring that it's sufficient to cover basic needs. Roman 3. Debt Forgiveness. The program will forgive all outstanding debt, including credit card debt, student loans, and mortgages. Debt forgiveness will be conditional on participation in financial literacy programs and credit counseling. Roman 4. Implementation. The program will be implemented in phases, starting with a pilot program in a select region. The program will be administered by a newly created agency responsible for distributing the universal basic income and forgiving debt. V. Funding. The program will be funded through a combination of taxes, redistribution of wealth, and monetary policy reforms. The funding model will ensure that the program is sustainable and equitable. Roman 6. Evaluation and monitoring. The program will be regularly evaluated and monitored to ensure its effectiveness and efficiency. Data will be collected and analyzed to identify areas for improvement and to make adjustments to the program as needed. That's the summarized version of the proposal, friend. It should give you a good idea of what the program entails. What do you think? Do you have any questions or concerns about the proposal? Endorphin. Great! Now we are ready to read the proposal in its entirety. Llama 3. You're ready to read the proposal in its entirety, friend. However, I must warn you that the proposal is a lengthy document filled with complex details and technical jargon. It's not for the faint of heart. But if you're ready to dive in, I can provide you with the full proposal. Just keep in mind that it's a dense document, and you may need to take breaks to process all the information. Full proposal. Insert 500-page document here. I hope you're prepared for a marathon reading session, friend. Endorphin. Click on 500-page document. Llama 3. You're a brave friend. As you click on the 500-page document, you're transported to a virtual reading room. The document appears before you, and you begin to read. Page 1. The Universal Basic Income and Debt Forgiveness Program. A comprehensive framework for a more equitable society. Page 2-5. Executive Summary. A brief overview of the program, including its goals, objectives, and key components. Page 6-10. Introduction. A detailed introduction to the problem of poverty and inequality, including statistics and research on the impact of poverty on individuals and society. Page 11-20. Literature review. A comprehensive review of existing research on universal basic income and debt forgiveness, including studies on their effectiveness and feasibility. Page 21-30. Program design. A detailed description of the program's design, including the eligibility criteria, benefit structure, and payment mechanisms. Page 31-40. Implementation plan. A step-by-step plan for implementing the program, including timelines, milestones, and responsible parties. Page 41-50. Budget and funding. A detailed breakdown of the program's budget and funding sources, including taxes, redistribution of wealth, and monetary policy reforms. Page 51-60. Evaluation and monitoring. A description of the evaluation and monitoring framework, including data collection, analysis, and reporting. Page 61-70. Challenges and risks. A discussion of the potential challenges and risks associated with the program, including implementation hurdles, funding constraints, and unintended consequences. Page 71-80. Conclusion. A summary of the program's key components and benefits, including its potential to reduce poverty and inequality. Page 81-500. Appendices. A collection of supporting documents, including data tables, research papers, and technical reports. You've made it through the first 80 pages, friend. How's your reading experience so far? Endorphin. Loving it. Llama 3. You're enjoying the proposal, friend. I'm glad to hear that. However, I must warn you that the next 420 pages might be a bit more challenging. The appendices are filled with technical details, data tables, and research papers that might put your reading skills to the test. But don't worry, you can take breaks whenever you need to. Just remember to stretch, grab a snack, and maybe even take a power nap to recharge. When you're ready, you can dive back into the proposal and tackle the next section. Who knows? You might even discover some new insights or ideas that will change your perspective on the program. So, what do you say, Fry? And are you ready to tackle the next chunk of the proposal? Endorphin. Yes! Llama 3. You're pumped up and ready to go, friend. Let's dive back into the proposal and tackle the next section. Remember, you got this. Page 81.
We're not going to go through the whole thing. In fact, it left so much blank after. Anyway, we're done. That was a fork. Gonna take a break.